or visitors?
Good night, President Junior. This is IPP Durban Patrick from the Kiwanis Club, Spanish Town.
Okay.
I'm hoping to be joined by 4 others. I'm trying to see if they are online. But
Okay.
we have special interest in this meeting, and we wish that we will have a very good dialogue,
Okay.
and a lot of learning will take place. Thank you.
I thank you, President Durban, and thank you again for taking time out of your busy schedule, to attend our meeting tonight. And I'm sure it will be informative, and you'll enjoy this meeting tonight. Thank you again. Any other visitors visiting Kiwanian? If not, we move to the group that we like to present, our prospective members. Are there any prospective members that would like to bring greetings at this time? That is sharing up the meeting with us and would like to bring greeting at this time?
Evening, Kiwan and Andrew here. I have a prospective member on, Zuri Johnson, joining us for, I think, the second or third meeting straight.
Right. Thank you for joining us, and we like to see when young people join us, because young people is the future, and we want to see more young people coming in. So thank you again for joining us, and don't continue to be prospective. We'd like to hear from you the next time, being fully fledged Kiwanian. So we welcome you again, and we look forward to you becoming one of us in the near future. Thank you. Any others? Visitors on the platform?
No.
Oh, if not, thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, other Kiwanis clubs. And we sure welcome you tonight. And I'll hand back over to President Paul to continue with the program. Thank you again.
Yes, thank you. Thank you very much, P. Junior. Thank you. Well, I want to see one of my colleagues and friend, Delia Gillens. Welcome, Delia. And IPP Richard, welcome. Yes, at this time, I'm going to ask if there are any apologies. Secretary DLG Willie, did you receive any apologies?
None at this time.
Okay, then, thank you. Well, we move on to Kiwanis education. Could you share with us Kiwanis education, DLG Willie, for this week, please?
Will do, President Paul. This evening, I thought I would look at the standard form for club bylaws and policies. And I'm going to speak to Article 3, which deals with operations. The administrative fiscal year of this club is the same as Kiwanis International, which is October 1 to September 30. 2, the board will determine the frequency, date, time, and place of regular club meetings, no less than once each month. Special club meetings may be called and scheduled. Meetings may be canceled or rescheduled by a majority vote of the board of club members, provided at least 48 hours previous notice is given. Subject to laws of local jurisdiction, club members may meet and conduct business by any method that allows all participants to simultaneously communicate with each other or as otherwise allowed by law. Participation constitutes attendance. Normal club meeting rules apply. If any votes taken verbally are unclear, they should be taken by roll call. 3, one meeting each year between January 1 and May 15th will be designated as the annual meeting for club elections. At least 30 days previous notice of the annual meeting must be given to members. 4. This club may have standing committees as is determined by a majority vote of the board and defining club policy. The president may create and appoint additional committees, a desire to conduct club goals and activities, subject to approval by the board with their purpose, term, and duties defined upon creation. 5, at least 1/3 of the club members in good standing constitute a quorum, and no less than a majority vote of the members present. And voting is required to approve all business unless otherwise provided in these bylaws or club policy. At least 14 days previous notice of any pending vote must be given to the members. Finally, this club may host activities to inform club and community members about matters of public interest. However, this club will not express any opinion or take any action regarding any candidate, legislation, or other matters of a political nature. That's our Kiwanis education for this evening. President Paul, over to you.
Yes, thank you very much, DLG Willie, for that. DP Stewart.
Yes, President Paul.
Yes, is our guest.
I just spoke to her about 3 minutes ago, and she's about to come on.
Okay.
So I told her to just message me as soon as she's on, because I'd have to search for her name.
Okay, no problem.
She's almost standing by.
Okay, no problem.
You're gonna do birth?
Yes, definitely. Yes, I will. Yes. Okay. Well, I'm going to just share some highlights of our Kiwanis One Day project. Kiwanis One Day was observed last Saturday, October 23rd. So.
You weren't gonna do birthdays? Birthdays wasn't on there, Jen?
Oh, my apologies. Let me go back on the agenda. Let me go back to that segment. Birthday recognition. VP Newton.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, President Paul. Good evening, everyone. For our birthdays and anniversaries this week, well, what we really have is birthdays. We have 2 members of the Kiwanis Club of Kingston who celebrate their birthday on Saturday, that's the 30th. And they are Director David Hall and DP Earl Spencer. So both gentlemen will celebrate their birthdays on Saturday, October 30th. I know we want to move on, so is there anyone else listening, anyone else in this meeting who is celebrating a special occasion this week or next week? No one?
Okay, let's take it there. Let's take it there then, because our guest is now on.
Okay. Well, DP Stewart, it's back to you, but I just want, not stealing from the person during the introduction, but I would just want to say welcome to our 400-meter specialist, Olympian NOVLENE Williams Mills. Back to you, sir.
Okay, then thank you very much, VP Newton. Over to you, DP Stewart.
Yes. Our guest is now on. So I'm gonna introduce her. Let me just say hi, NOVLENE. Just speak, so I'm sure I'm.
Hello.
Just say something so that I'm okay.
And the screen
Great.
sharing, please.
All right. I'm just gonna do a start. This evening it is, our pleasure to, or let's say my pleasure, to introduce our guest, NOVLENE Williams Mills. NOVLENE has a reputation of being one of, if not the most consistent 400-meter athlete that Jamaica has ever produced. She's a 4-time Olympian, having been to her first Olympic Games in 2004, and then 2008, 12, and 16, and never failed to come home with a medal. She has also been attending the World Championship since 2003, although she did not compete in 2003, even though she came 3rd at the trials. I'm going to ask her about that later. Then she is the 7th of 9 children. She was born in St. Anne and attended Ferncourt High. I wrote this when this was true, that I had no information on her performances at champs. But since then, I do have some. You know, she did run the 400 and the 200 at champs. And in class 2 came what, 3rd and 6th respectively. And in class 1 came 2nd and 4th respectively. And I got that on good sources. So because, and I mentioned that because she did get a track scholarship to the University of Florida. So they must have seen her, or you know, her perform somewhere, and the most likely place was champs. So she attended University of Florida in Gainesville, where she graduated in 2004. In 2012, just before the Jamaican trials for the London Olympics, Novlene discovered that she had breast cancer. Let me pause at this time. So, because we are going to fill in the storylines. So at this point, could you open your mics but remember to close them back after, and help me welcome Novlene Williams Mills.
Welcome, welcome.
Welcome, welcome.
Welcome.
Okay. Okay, Novlene, it says she preferred the interview conversations format. So that's what we're gonna do tonight. So Novlene, it seems that, you know, we have always known of you as Novlene Williams Mills. You must have gotten married pretty early. When did you get married, by the way?
In 2007.
Okay. Because we know some of our other athletes, we kind of knew when they changed their names, but I always remember you as Novlene Williams Mills. Anyway, moving right along. Now, I want to flash back to 2012. You know, we'll get to your stellar athletic career afterwards, but since this is breast cancer month, you know, tell me, what preceded your being diagnosed with breast cancer? In other words, you know, you don't just get up and find out that you have breast cancer. Something must have preceded for you to even test for it. Could you tell us about that?
No, I mean, as a female and getting my annual checkup every year, you know, one thing that I normally check is, after my monthly, just, do my regular monthly self-check at home. And it was like doing one of those self-check that, I feel a small lump. And it's luckily that it was kind of coincident when I have my regular checkup. So I mentioned it to my doctor. I was like, I feel a small lump. And, at first it was like, I doubted anything, but let's be safe and, let's do a mammogram. And, that's one of the things I always tell people, like, do your self-exam at home and make sure that, you know what goes on in your body better than anyone else. So if there's something that doesn't feel right, speak up.
So I suppose the first person, if I remember correctly, you at that point when you got that diagnosis confirmed, you were just about to fly to Jamaica for the Jamaican trials for the London Olympics. Was it like next day or something?
Yep, it was the next day. I think I flew down, I think the Tuesday or the Wednesday, but whatever day it was, I got the call the day before. I was packing and all that stuff. Just finished doing my final packing, make sure that I got everything, and
So what informed you your decision then? Because some people might have said, "Boy, okay, let me just." Maybe I just sit down here. What informed your decision that, yes, I'm gonna go for it?
I mean, at the end of the day, like, when you get a news like that, you're gonna be shocked. You're gonna be in disbelief. You're gonna, figure out, okay, maybe they make a mistake. And for me, it was like, they make a mistake. I think they're gonna call me back, the next day to tell me that, it's not my test. It was, sorry, it was the wrong person. So for me, it was just holding on to that hope that they would have called me back and be like, oh, wrong person, but never happened. But yeah.
But you did have to consult with your doctor if it was okay, right?
Well, I came to Jamaica, was like, okay, there was nothing that I could done. Once they call me, they already make an appointment for me. I think that following Monday, to see the doctor. So my appointment was already made, so it was not going to interfere with me coming to Jamaica. And, ticket was already booked. It was like, okay, what do I do? So, I came to Jamaica and, flew back to Florida and, went for my appointment. And I think that's when reality really is set
It's
in
you.
that, okay.
But I think it's noteworthy though that when you came, even though you had just been diagnosed and you came to the trials, you won your event, didn't you?
Yep, I won the 400. Nobody knew at that time, apart from Jamil, my husband, that I have this cloud over me that, okay, you have breast cancer. So no one knew. So for me, for that time, it was like I didn't have to burden people with that story. I didn't have to explain to myself. I didn't have to tell no one, okay, this is my plan, what I'm going to do. So for those little days, it was okay for me. I was just trying to do what I love to do at that time, and it was compete.
So fast forward to the London Olympics. How did you manage the process while, keeping it to, I guess, just a few people, if any, and but still having to compete and keep that focus, because track and field requires focus and concentration. Tell us about how you manage that process.
I think, knowing at that time, that was the hardest thing to deal with, because, at this point, as I said, reality is, set in. I've got the date for my surgery. It was like 3 days after the games was over. So I know once the 4x4 was over, that I was flying straight back home to Florida. I know I have, all my appointments were, it's already scheduled leading up to my surgery. So that was like one of the hardest things to deal with, but like, knowing that, every race that I'm running, or every time I step on the track, maybe it's going to be the last time that I step on the track. Like, I didn't have any plans after, like, okay, 1 minute I'm running good, then the other minute is I have to explain to everyone that I have breast cancer, and I'm stepping away from the track. So it was more like, for me, it was an escape. Not, everybody was more concentrating and, winning the race, winning a gold medal. For me, it was just getting away from the reality that in few days, my life going to be changed forever.
So now it's the Olympics is over, and you actually came, I think, 5th in the 400.
Yeah.
And you also left with a silver medal in the 4x4. Mm-hmm. So you held up very well. So now it's time for surgery. And I think some people might think that this is now, a one-shot thing. You do the surgery and it's over. But it wasn't like that for you. You had a number of surgeries. Tell us about that process.
So my first surgery, I did a lumpectomy, which what they do is just remove the lump from the area it was, from the breast area. They send it to the pathology that do all their testing and all that stuff. I think it was about a week after I went for my post-op checkup. And I remember I was sitting in the room, and one of the nurses came to get the doctor. Were like, the pathologist on the phone. He was like, oh, that's a call I've been waiting on. And I could hear him talking to the other person on the other line. And, the conversation wasn't sounding good. And I said to Jamil, because he was there, was like, he's talking about me and it's not good. And he was like, no, why would you say that? I said, he's talking about me. So he came back in. He was like, we removed the lump, but, your margins weren't clear. So we got to go back in and do another surgery. And, so that's when reality started. Okay, what are we talking about? And, so it was either, go back in and remove some more, of the lump, hopefully to get a clean margin, or do a mastectomy. It was like a mastectomy. So, for a second, it was like, okay, it was like you can do a mastectomy with reconstructive surgery, so it gave me a number to a plastic surgeon, consult with them. And we came back, I came back to him. I was like, okay, if we're going to do a mastectomy, let's go about and do a double mastectomy, because, at this point it was like, I can't live with the what if, or when is this cancer going to come back, or is it going to come in on the other side? So, I was like, I got to make sure I protect myself, but also my family, because I was like, this is hard. I don't want to keep putting my loved ones through this, to wonder, are we going to catch it early if we come back? So we went for a double mastectomy and surprisingly came back and my margins still weren't clear. So got to go back in for a third surgery.
So what's left to cut now? I mean, what did they do then?
So at this point, it's like, they're like, wherever the cancer was sitting, because it was sitting so low on my skin, on my rib cage, they got to go in and remove a little bit of the skin to make sure that, there was no cancer cell left. So that's exactly what they did on my third surgery. Yeah.
And okay. Now, I did read where you had 4 surgeries. Was the fourth one unrelated to the cancer, or was something else?
No, the fourth one was going back, because what they do when they do a double mastectomy, they put what they call expanders in. So you got to go in maybe each week to have them, put saline in there to, get back the size of your breast and the shape of what you want. So the fourth one was to remove those and actually put in the permanent implants that I have in now.
Okay, I got you. But I also, your family, you had a history of breast cancer or cancer in your family.
Yeah,
share that with us.
My mom is a 2-time breast cancer survivor. Just it's so funny that a lot of people don't know, like 2016, being in Rio at the Olympics game, my mom was pretty much here in Florida with me. She had a lump, she was doing copper tests. So I know I was gone for a little bit. So, just waiting on the results. And to be honest, I got the call when I was in Rio to let me know that my mom indeed had breast cancer. So imagine 4 years after my in 2 Olympics, I'm dealing back with the same exact thing, trying to go through it all over again. At this time, it was my mom, but, it's no difference being, that's your mother and being a caregiver, it still is a lot, because now it's like you're reliving everything that you've been through for the past couple of years. Now you got to, go through it again, even though it's not for you, it's somebody that you love.
Yeah.
It's tough.
And your sister?
My sister,
you had
2010 that died from ovarian cancer. So, my health is something that I,
okay. No, all right. I don't want to force you to talk about it. It must be stressful to talk about that. So I just wanted to just bring in the context of you had a history in the family. But okay, moving along from that, tell us now, okay, 2013, I guess the surgeries went on into 2013. But you started competing again in 2013, but just a little bit. And I saw where you said something about I heard something where before you actually came public with it, where the Jamaican fans were kind of critical of you. But they didn't know what was going on, but you know how Jamaican fans are, and I guess with social media, and it kind of hurt you a little bit, right? How did you feel about that?
It hurt a bit because I think when I came for the Jamaica Invitational, I think that was May. I'll just barely start training, I think, the end of February or something like that. So, to actually even come and compete, it was like crazy. But at the end of the day, I think I got third there. And I mean, I guess they're used to me running 50 points, 49, or winning, you know, for them, I guess that was not up to their standards. So for me, it was hurtful. I was like, you know, for me at that time, I'm like, I just want to say to them, like, if you all understand what I've been through these past couple of months, then y'all wouldn't have nothing to say. But, you know, I understand them. It's just a fan, and, you know, they want to always make sure that their own athletes do good. So, you know, when I actually, you know, talk about what happened the past year and all that stuff, you know, it was a relief. It was good to, you know, let people in my world and let them know, okay, listen, I'm a human, and, you know, it's been a couple tough months, and I've been dealing with the best I can. So, you know, so I think a lot of people appreciate that, I hope. And, you know, I have a lot of people that reach out to me once I decided to talk about what I've been through.
And so moving now on to 2014, and there wasn't, let me see, in 2014, there wasn't a major championship in 2014, was there?
Just to come.
When did you start? When did you really come back on the? Oh yes, in 2000. Oh yeah, right. So no, let me double check something, Novlene, because I think I saw where the Commonwealth Games was 2000 and.
Yeah, it was 2014.
And 14. Okay, well, you should know, you were there. So you went to Commonwealth Games, and then after that, now in 2000, I think you won a medal there. I think I remember you.
Yeah,
not just the relays. You got a bronze medal in the four.
Yeah, I got that thing, the silver in the four,
and then
the gold in we got the gold in the 4x4. But I also won the Diamond League in 2014. So that was pretty good.
Yes. And then I kind of wanted to save, 2015 a little, but I heard, let me go this route first, because in 2015, that was a year which, I still treasure in terms of my personal memory of track and field, when we actually beat the Americans, and you had finished, you had that fantastic final leg where you caught the American McElroy, and you brought home the gold medal in the World Championships. Yeah. How does that, is that a memory that's still very fresh in your mind?
Yeah, because I honestly, I think I get that race so many times on Facebook. People always sending it to me, reminding me. So, that's one that, it's like going back, looking at the race, like, in the moment, we won and we celebrate, but it was going until I went back and look at the race and I see how my teammates were reacting, like Sharik and all them, they were jumping. I was like, oh my God. Yes. I was like, and I tell them, I said, y'all were crazy. But,
yes.
It's moments like that where, I was, love what I do, because it was, at that time I know that it wasn't just for me, but it was also for my teammates and for my country. So to have that joy and everybody keep talking about that race, there's, I was like, that's what I came back for. I could have left the sports since 2012, after my cancer battle, but I was like, something just keep bringing me back. Really, okay, I got a second chance. I can train and I can compete. So I was like, let me give it another try.
I think I read where you said once that you didn't want to be remembered. You didn't want your athletic career to be just suppressed and people just remember you as a breast cancer survivor. So you wanted them to remember your achievements on the track. Yeah. You said something about treating cancer as a competitor. I don't know if you could give that some context for me. In terms of when you're fighting cancer, you're fighting against a competitor. Is that the case? The same kind of approach you made?
I mean, every day, with cancer, it's not 7 other lanes, it's not 7 other people that you got to battle. It's something that you have no control over. It's something that can take over your whole body. So for me, it was like a competitor. Like I was like, whatever it is, when you get in that race and you're like, I'm gonna beat you no matter what it is. So that's how I have to approach it. Was like, okay, cancer is my competitor, and no matter what it is, I'm gonna win, because at the end of the day, it's like, so many times, we let cancer win because we get so tired. There were days when, I was so tired when I get up out of bed, or, I just couldn't do anything. And, I got to keep reminding myself that take it one day at a time. And it's just like when you go out there to practice, you got to just, every rep count. So for me, it was always that, like, every treatment that I go to, it's a rep that I'm like, okay, whatever it is, I want to come out being stronger than when I went in. So that's how I have to look at it, and, give me something to fight for. And it was like, for me, it was always trying to fight to get back on the track. And I'm like, let me see where, it would take me. And I tell my husband, I tell my coach at that time, I was like, 2013, yes, it was an okay year getting back. But I was like, I'm giving myself 2014. And then depends on what happened on the track. Then, if it's, my body can't do it, then I was like, I have to walk away, because at the end of the day is, I put my body through something that I've never been through before.
So it also struck me that, as an international athlete, there's a lot of, other than the training, there's a lot of routine, I think, in your regimen. Do you think that having a routine would have helped you also, because you have to apply that routine to even the way you respond to the cancer, in terms of what you have to do now, maybe dietary and so on. Is that a fair comment?
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, it was like, most of the times that, they will tell you, okay, you need to exercise or you need to do this. And I was like, I was doing all of that, but, cancer didn't care. But I think that routine for me, it was good, because I know, okay, from surgery, this is my other doctor that I need to see, and that's my other doctor that I need to see. So, having a plan before I even went in surgery, I think that was one of the biggest thing for me, because, I didn't be like, okay, so now I'm finished with the surgery. What do I do next? Or, I feel like I was lost. But actually, my doctors, they did a great job making sure I have my team together before we even went into surgery, to make sure that, my oncologist, my radiation doc, it's just like everybody was in place. So I know, where I was going next. So I think that kept me so encouraged, where I didn't feel like I was lost by myself and didn't know what to do.
What about the persons who kind of helped you along the way, either during the period when you were, when you were down, and also in terms of your overall career? Any notable persons you would want to mention?
I mean, Keenan Sinclair, she had been a great friend of mine. I think she was maybe one of the friends that I knew, before David Oliver.
Went public.
Yeah, Justin Gatlin, Corinne Hines, they have been, they were here with me, making sure that I was getting to my appointment, making sure that everything was okay. They were just there, being there for me, and make sure they were concerned about my overall health, and just be like, okay, what can we do? What can we do for you? And sometimes I'll be like, you guys are doing more than enough, and I appreciate everything that they have done for me.
Okay, and well, I did think that there's also mention of a coach that you had at University of Florida, who died. This is before you got cancer anyway, but
2007.
Tom Jones?
Yes.
Right. Yes, he had an impact on your career?
Yeah, so Tom
You want to
Jones
share that?
was, yeah, Tom Jones was my college coach, and he was my coach after I finished college. And, you know, I tell people, I was like, I give a lot of credit to him because, you know, the person, you know, as much as they be like, oh, you're confident and you did, I was like, no, I was not like that. You know, I was the one that be like, would tell Coach Jones, be like, no, those girls are faster than me and all that stuff. But, you know, he was the one who would be like, okay, look at this or look at that. But, you know, he believes so much in me that, you know, he encouraged me to, you know, to give track a try, you know, professionally. And, you know, one of the things that I can say was Coach Jones never traveled to track meet with me, but I can always be at the track meet and I can call him and be like, okay, this is the lane draw. This is who is in front of me. This is who behind me. And he will want me to how he want me to run the race because he would tell me exactly what each athlete's going to do. And surprisingly, that's exactly what they would do in the race. So, you know, he was one that I had to give credit for to, you know, instill so much confidence in me to let me believe so much in myself.
Okay, well, I want to start opening it up to, because I know some of our audience will want to have other questions that they may want to ask you. And I know we have a time constraint. So let me at this point just mention it, just in summary, 4 Olympic silver medals.
No, 3 silver, 1 bronze.
On the World Championship. Oh yes, oh yes. 3 silver and one bronze, and that was the bronze was the first one, I think. Yes. But let me ask you this question: in 2003, I remember I read that you came third at the trials, and then when you went to the picture on the team, and then when you got there, they said you were too inexperienced. What kind of stuff was that? What happened there?
They didn't allow me to run because, you know, there was so many other experienced ladies that was on the team. So for me, I was still in college, and I tell them right then there. And, you know, I think 1 or 2 of the Jamaica coach will remember me telling them, I told them, I said, this will be the last time that I travel on a team and I'm not actually running. I said, I promise you all that. And that was the last time it happened. Oh yeah. That was just a little country girl telling them like, y'all are wrong.
But, you know, funny enough, and the way we do it now, it probably wouldn't happen today, but I didn't even know it was happening in 2003, you know? That's strange. All right, let's open it up to the floor. Those of you who is first and would like to ask NOVLENE a question, whether about track or whether about the breast cancer, the floor is open.
P.E. Letner from Kiwanis of
Sure, go ahead.
NOVLENE, I applaud
go
you.
Ahead.
If you look in my hair, you see my pink ribbon. I can say I've been down the same road as you've been, except that I was not in track and field, but I was an actress. And my mom also died from cancer cervical. My sister died from ovarian and breast. 2 of my cousins died from colon. My niece in England died of colon. So I know what it is like to have a performance. I came out of hospital after doing a mastectomy and had in my bag, had my bag on, and I had to go and do a 2.5-hour full-length play in front of about 800 people.
Wow.
2 nights straight. So, you know, every time I got off stage, I had to be changing the bandage.
Yeah.
I was in so much pain. Luckily, one of the scenes, at the last scene, I was supposed to be crying. And I used that pain to spur on the tears. And people are asking me, how do you do it? My director says, do you want me to tell them that you have cancer? I said, yes, because prayer works. And if they know that I'm going through this, I will be able to beat it and fight it. And I was diagnosed in 2011, sorry. And December 16th is going to be 10 years.
Hello.
And I'm fighting and still fighting. So I really, really applaud you. It's a hard road. It's a emotional road, especially when you're talking about people that you've lost to cancer. And your mom, who was your caregiver, you ended up being her caregiver, and knowing that what you went through, and you had to find positive words to tell her. The same
Yeah.
thing I think she told you when you were diagnosed is the same thing you had to tell her back. And I really applaud your strength, and to see that after that you went and you ran. And you said when you were told you had cancer, you came to Jamaica and you run. And that is one thing. When you have something to do and you have a purpose in life, you have something to do, don't care what ailment the doctor tell you that you have, you want to put it behind you, because you have to be focused on what you're doing. And if you stay and moan over it and say, oh my God, I have cancer, they told me I have cancer, I cannot go on, I cannot run, I cannot do this.
Okay.
No, you just put it behind you and you move forward, and you'll be the success that you have been over
Okay.
the years. And congratulations for your medals.
Thank you so much.
Tenacity.
Okay,
Thank
thank
you so much. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Who else would like to get in some questions?
DP Stewart.
I'm not seeing hands in the chat,
Yeah.
so just
Yeah, I put up my DP
yes,
Stewart.
yes, go ahead.
Oh, champion
Oh,
Navi.
go ahead.
Yeah.
DLG.
This is late McKnight. You know, I refer to you as my champion. And just a simple one. Last week, I got a call from a Q1, a member of this movement, a female, just got the dreaded diagnosis. As a matter of fact, she sent the report, and of course, her life is upside down. What do you say to somebody like that? What would you
For me, most time people get a diagnosis like breast cancer, they think it's a death sentence. I'm like, it's not a death sentence. Like there are ways that you can beat it, but you got to take it one day at a time. Get your team in place. Know what you're going to be doing from, if it's surgery, chemo, just, get everybody in place so and you know what you're doing. You don't feel like you are lost, because that's one of the biggest thing, when you feel like you are lost, like you don't know what else to do once you finish one thing, that can take a toll on you. But also make sure that you have people around you that's going to support you, that's going to love on you, because one of the biggest thing is, having that support system. If it's for somebody just to come over to cook a meal or take you to your appointment, that make a big difference. Friends or family member that don't have your back, so you don't feel like you're alone in this, because it's a big burden for you alone to carry. And I know for me, I try to hide it as much as I could, but sometimes it's so much bigger. And just have those people that's going to keep encouraging you, because sometimes it's like we look at people and be like, you look healthy, are you doing this? But sometimes you never know what they're going through, and meeting that one person can make a big difference of how you deal with it. And just find support groups, because just knowing that you're not alone in there and hearing somebody's story, it can help you so much. Because at the end of the day, it's like, you may feel like you have it bad, but somebody is going through worse than you. So have that support group, not just your family member, but people that been through it. Listen to their story. That help a lot.
Yeah, thanks.
Thank you. Thank you, DLG Layton. Anybody else who would like to get in a quick question? Okay.
Hello. Hello.
Yes.
Yes, this is Daniel.
Yes. Go ahead. Go ahead.
A friend of Mr. Parrott. Hi, Novlene. How are you?
Hi. How are you doing?
Thank you for your story. I mean, I've been watching you for all these years, but my question relates to your training regime. You make it sound very simple in terms of moving from one day to the next, but I'm very curious about what if you had to train differently, and how did the treatment impact on your training? Because it seems that you it seems that nothing really, I don't know. It just seems very, you just seem that have just transitioned seamlessly from one thing to the next. So if you could speak to that. Thank you.
No, I mean, before cancer, I was training like 5 days of the week. Sometime I would go on a run like on Saturdays. Sometime, after everything, like my training went to like 3 days a week. And it was more like getting the important days that we need. So instead of like, if I have like a day when I would just come to the track, do some med ball circuit and stuff, a lot of those I would cut up because I was like, my body was going through something where, and a lot of people don't see behind, where I would go to practice and I was too exhausted. Like I wouldn't train. I could just go home. There were days where maybe I only trained once a week because that's how exhausted I was, just going through it. But that one day that I get in, I always make sure that, it's the best day. So for me, the training was more quality than quantity. So I have to make sure that I was getting more rest and, more rest in practice and more rest at home.
Thank you.
Okay, and thank you. And Novlene, I saw we're in high school. You seem to have had maybe it was a preference for somebody kind of outed you and told the PE teacher that you could run. So is it that you like netball? You prefer netball?
Well, it was
that time?
At that time, because I'm like, in high school, I wasn't thinking about like, getting a scholarship to go, anywhere and all that stuff. Netball seemed to be more fun. Like, we want to be running around all day. I think a lot of people, and it's surprised, like, a lot of people also like, I always dream of going to the Olympics from when I was in high school. No, to be honest, that was not me, and, I'm so thankful. I'm so grateful the way that track has bring me this far, because, a lot of those dreams that other people have, other athletes have in high school, I didn't see myself having those dreams.
Okay. I have one last question that I wanted to throw in, and then we'll see if there's one more, and then we can go to the thank you. What is Novlene doing now, having retired, and this is your second life, as it were? What are you doing to occupy your time?
I got 2 kids, 2 boys, twin boys. They 18 months old, and that's my training every day. They keep me busy. People be like, I said, I'm trying to remember when I was that small, if I was giving that much, well, I wouldn't say trouble. They climb and everything. They climb, they jump. I'm like, Lord Jesus. I'm like, yeah, they nonstop. They are nonstop, but I couldn't have for a greater blessing than those 2 beautiful handsome boys. So they keep me busy these days.
How old are they?
18 months.
Okay.
18 months now.
I understand. 18 months.
Yes. So they're in the exploring stage where they explore everything.
Everything. Are they identical? I mean, I've seen pictures of them, but are they identical? Because sometimes
no.
Are they?
No, people
not really.
think so.
Okay.
I'm like, no, they're not.
Like the typical parents.
They look almost.
The typical parent usually.
And
parent, may I? Or you're not hearing me?
I'm hearing you.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
The typical
Go
parent.
ahead. Go ahead. I'm hearing you.
The typical parent usually names their twins that other people mix them up. They don't have to look alike. What are their names?
Jamari and Jameer.
You see what I mean? Okay. They always said, once you have more than one, you mix up their names anyway.
Yes, I do.
And then they are twins. Happy for you. Happy for you. You have an inspiration.
Thank you. Yeah.
Boy.
And I think you have taken on a career now as a personal trainer. Is that so?
Yeah, well, like now I try to do a little bit of something just to keep me busy. Since the boys are, they go to daycare sometime of the day. So, I still have a little bit of time, but yeah.
Okay, I didn't know that. Okay, well, the door is closing now. If there's one more, I'll take it. But if there's nobody right now, we're gonna go.
Yes.
Ruslan, go ahead. That you will be the last one.
It's Novlene. Appreciate your presentation.
Go ahead.
Many times, are you hearing me?
Yes.
Yes, many times, and quite rightly so, we focus on the victims of these illnesses. And a lot of times, the caregiver suffers almost equally. I'm happy that you mentioned your support system. But could you say how your ordeal affected those close around you?
I think the biggest was my husband, which, I tell people, I'm like, that's my rock. Like, he was my nurse. He was everything that I could ask for, most of the time, like, a lot of people, when they go through, something like this, people leave them, but, he was there, for me, like, he was always giving me a shoulder to be like, you cry, so, for me, after everything, I was like, I've never seen you cry. It was like both of us gonna break down at the same time, So I think for him, he used his mom to, talk to his mother most of the time when I was going through everything, just to make sure that he was strong enough for me. So, and, I think it was hard. And that was one of the things why I said, when I went back for my second surgery, I did a double mastectomy because, I could not live with myself to know that, I was being selfish enough to know that this is something that, takes so many lives, and, my chance of it coming back can move from, a 99% to maybe a 5%, but I didn't take that chance because I was, I want to keep the body parts that I came into this world with when I could, do other things to help. So for me, and I think, a lot of my friends, them that, the ones that end up being with me through this, and they will tell you, listen to sometimes just hearing them talk, they're like, for everything that I've accomplished, even though I've accomplished, in my track career, they feel like beating cancer was the biggest accomplishment that I ever had.
Thank you.
Okay. I'm gonna ask DP Marcel to give the vote of thanks. And I just want to tell you all that one of the reasons why NOVLENE is gonna leave after the vote of thanks is because those twins that she spoke about, she wants to spend some time with them before she has to put them to bed. So Marcel, that's a cue that you don't spend, how much time you have to say the vote of thanks. All right.
And President Paul and other Kiwanians and guests. I'm glad thank you for telling me that, because I could spend a whole night speaking about this special lady. Lovely Williams. Let me start by saying that in the Storm Kiwanians of Kingston, we have had a number of special guests. It's a regular thing. But I say without a doubt, you tonight, I will put as extra special and extraordinary. And I'm not just saying that because it sounds nice and the right thing to say. Saying that because you have come here tonight and inspired all of us. I know I can say that for everybody, because you have shared, you have opened up in such a personal way. No matter something that is so very personal. Not about people, sharing. But I mean, you shared, you allowed us into your life. It's like allowing us into your bedroom. And in such a way, your candor, your honesty, And it really, really was extra special. We have always, I think all of us know of your exploits and your strengths on the track, and I don't have to go into that. But what you have demonstrated tonight is that inner strength, you know, and I say, you know, I'm a male, I may not have breast cancer, but although I hear men can have it. But, you know, I think what you have done shows all of us that despite whatever challenges you may have, if you have that strength of character, right, and all that you have mentioned, I don't have to go into them because of time, you can overcome, and you are open and honest with it. And I think that is what allowed you, you know, to come and share with us tonight. You know, you didn't hold back, and I really, really appreciate it. It was a very, very special night for all of us. Want to thank you for sharing the way you did. As I said, it shows your strength of character. We appreciate your candor, your honesty. You included, you know, sharing with your family. As I said, it inspires us. It says to me, you showed your professionalism both on and off the track. Because we have had some experiences, I won't go into detail recently, where some unprofessionalism has been shown. I really appreciate how you tonight have shown how you, in a simple but effective and real way, to be professional in all that you do. And I say on and off the track, because I think you recognize that as an athlete, and you're a team person, you stress that, you know, there was glory for you, of course, but you represented the team. You recognize you were, you know, there for Jamaica, and that shows, you know, really how professional you are. So I really want to thank you. I can thank you the whole night, but I know time is against you, right? Really want to thank you for being
Remember
here, for taking time away from the twins and sharing it with us, right? And, you know, give us special hope from all of us tonight, because this is really, really very special. You know, we know you have a lot of you probably have a trophy room and a trophy wall and a trophy closet, right? But we have a special plaque for you. We hope you probably have to build a new wall to get this plaque on, right? Because you have earned and deserved so many that you have earned, right? But we have a special plaque, and normally we would be presenting it to you. I would present it and get a hug, but you know, all that has changed now. But
Yeah.
to you, I think we can show it to you, even here in this virtual space.
It's a certificate of appreciation, right?
Certificate of appreciation.
Okay.
Presence here tonight.
You can blow it up, Desmond.
Yes, I say thank you.
Great, great. And you know, I'll make sure that I get a chance to deliver it to you. I want to deliver it to you personally.
Okay, when you come to Florida, let me know.
Oh yes, no, I'll book the flight tomorrow. Well, we'll get it to you, and just want to say again, thank you so very much. We really
Thank you
appreciate
for having me.
It has inspired all of us to take on our challenges that we have, whether it's cancer or whatever in our lives, and to handle it the way you do. Continue to strengthen us, and may the good Lord continue to bless you and your family.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
Yes, thank you very much, Novlene.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And if you gotta run, we understand.
Yeah. Let me get these
Thanks.
boys to bed. Thank you so much. Thank you. What's my pleasure.
Okay. Yes.
All right.
Thank
Have a good night, everyone. All
Okay.
right.
Great.
All right.
Yes.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Yes. Thank you very much, DP Stewart.
Back to you, President.
Yes. Thank you very much, DP Stewart. Thank you. At this time, yes. At this time, DP Desmond, we move to our Sergeant at Arms.
Thank you, President. I'm trying to get my camera on. I'm on. Thank you, President. Of course, my wife is a breast cancer survivor, having been diagnosed back in 2015, and she said that Olympian NOVLENE Williams Mills was an inspiration to her. So that in of itself also helped in carrying her through and strengthening her and overcoming that particular disease. Let me say, I won't call any names tonight as the Sarge, but I'll remind us all to turn on our cameras when we speak. We know who we are, and it's the polite thing to do. Okay, let me just give you a little one here. This person was relating his story. I told my boss that 3 companies were after me. And because I enjoyed working with him, I didn't want to have to leave. And so I needed a raise to stay on my job. We haggled for a few minutes. And because he considered me an excellent worker and couldn't afford to lose me, he gave me a 10% raise. While leaving his office, he stopped me and asked, "By the way, which companies are after you?" I responded, "NWC, JPS, and Flow," as I was in arrears with my payments and they decided to disconnect my services. That is the Sarge.
Okay.
Awesome.
Batteries.
President.
Thank you very much, DP Desmond. Thank you.
You didn't have to be so personal, though.
Okay, at this time we'll have our announcements from DLG Willie and visiting clubs. DLG Willie.
Thank you, President Paul. November the 7th to the 13th is being celebrated in Jamaica as Key Club Week. It begins with a church service on the 7th. And just by way of notice, at our meeting on the 9th of November, we'll be having our usual Key Club role model meeting where members of our SLPs will be conducting the meeting. The month of November is also recognized as Alzheimer's Disease Awareness Month. In terms of interclubbing opportunities, tomorrow night, Michael Circle K will be having their 44th anniversary meeting, which begins at 7 p.m. The link has been sent out by Kiwanian Dr. Andrew Burton. That's tomorrow night, so I hope that Kiwanians, please let us go and join Michael Circle K and support them at their anniversary meeting.
We don't see any credentials, though.
Beg your pardon, Trevor?
We don't see any credentials, so Michael.
Yes, it has. It was sent out today, but we'll send the link later. On the 28th of November, 28th of October, that's Thursday, North St. Andrew will be having the Variety Night, which starts at 7 o'clock, and they have extended a special invitation to us. President Paul, those are the announcements and in clubbing opportunities for now. You may want to open to the floor in case any president from one of our visiting clubs may have announcement. Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much, Secretary DLG Willie. Are there any other announcements from visiting clubs that are here with us?
Yes, good night. Thank you, President Paul. President Cheryl here from Kiwanis Club of 23 CSO. We'll be hosting our Seafood Fiesta on December 3, 2021. The flyer is being circulated with all the relevant information, but the cost of the meals, fish lunches will be $1,800 and shrimp lunch $2,000. Do support. Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much, President Cheryl. At this time, we'll move to our thought of the week.
President Paul.
Yes, dear. Yes, PDT Ralston.
Crave indulgence for 1 minute.
Yes, you have it, sir. Go ahead.
I have just gone to a number of installations and I see something creeping in, and I hope that it does not continue. It has not really happened in this club, but I'm happy that we have all the Kiwanians on. The 5th of the 6 permanent objects of Kiwanis International refers to render altruistic service. And I've heard a number of occasions where persons say tender instead of render. I've actually seen it written on a program. So I just want to use the opportunity to remind us that the 5th object is to render altruistic service and not tender. Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much, PDT Roston, for bringing this to our attention.
And President, since he's bringing things to our attention, may I say that the national anthem is to guard us with thy mighty hands and not guide us. So where I find that the anthem has guide, I don't play it. Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Perfect. Very pronounced tonight. Very, very pronounced, the guide.
Yeah.
Yes.
Guard.
Guard, yes. Thank you. Thank you very much, DP Desmond and PDT Roston, for bringing those two pointers to our attention and to other members on this platform. May I ask DP Stewart to deliver the thought of the week as we bring this meeting to a close?
Yes, one second. Okay, good. Yes, President Paul, thank you. I have two thoughts. The first one, the illiterate of the future will not be those who cannot read or write, but those who cannot learn, unlearn, and relearn. And the second one is, when you want something you have never had, you have to do something you have never done. And that's my second thought. Thank you, President.
The second one is very good. I like the second thought. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Well, at this time, Kiwanians and guests, I'm going to ask that you raise your imaginary glass and we drink a toast to Kiwanis International and to Jamaica land we love. This meeting of the Kiwanis Club of Kingston is now terminated.
Land we love.
It's supremacy.
Okay.
Good meetings, Joe.
Yes, very good interview.
Thanks.
DP Stewart.
Thanks, Chris. Thank you.
Television program. I think so.
They're getting some good practice. You might. When the present guy was doing profile, moved on, you can apply for the job.
Absolutely, from profile. Yes, I'll definitely put in a word for him.
All right.
Much appreciated. And because you're improving everyone.